Everybody likes a fresh roll. Everybody likes a bit of garlic bread or just a snack with jam or even sandwiches. This is what we're doing for you today.
สวัสดีค่ะวันนี้มาทำขนมปังยาวค่ะ
Right. We're making rolls. These is we're going to show you the ingredients, but making rolls or baguettes, the dough is prepared in two stages. This is the first stage, and here we've got 180 grams of all-purpose flour, or 1.5 cups, if you like to work it in that way. And there is also warm water, 300 mils of warm water, which is the same as 1.5 cups as well. And then we will also be using 1 teaspoon of yeast. Now, Ting's going to start preparing that by putting the yeast in with the flour. And as I just said, it's going to be in two stages, this. So the yeast is sprinkled in with the flour, and then that's mixed with the water, and then we have to leave it, mix the yeast with the flour, and then we will have to leave it for 3 hours to rise. So we'll stop once this stage, this is the initial stage, the water goes in, and you mix it around fairly gently, try to cover everything. It's well mixed through there. As you can see at the moment, it's still a pretty thick liquid mixture, but it gets left to rise. There we go, not a drop goes to waste. So having done that, as you can see, that's how it looks. It's just a thick paste, and then it gets covered and is left somewhere warm, anywhere around here will do. For this will actually be left for 3 hours. Right, we're back for part 2. As you can see, that's the first lot that we did, which has bubbled and sort of risen as a liquidish. Now, part 2, we need another 3 cups of plain flour, which is 360 grams. We need 1/4 cup of warm water, which is 60 milliliters. We need 2 teaspoons of salt, which is there, as you can see, in that little dish. And we need 1 teaspoon of yeast, which will be added. And we now carry on, and the yeast gets mixed over the flour, and then we'll mix all these ingredients with what has already been prepared in that bowl there, and mix it up and knead it. So here we go. Yes, get the yeast through the flour, even though it's all going to be mixed by hand. You can never prepare your mixture too thoroughly. So that's that, and it goes into the warm water, and the salt sprinkled over the top, and then it's real hands-on to move this all into a nice gooey mixture. whilst doing this, one mustn't worry too much about getting it in between your fingers or anything. You want to squeeze it and wring it and crumple and rumple and really mix this as finely as you can with your hands. And as you go, keep scraping off the edge as well, and keep going like this. I'll pause you here, and we'll come back when it's a bit more final. As you keep going through kneading it, all the flour, of course, gets absorbed by the main mass. You can see there's still a tiny bit on the bottom, which will combine in due course. If you've got a home mixer thing with the right attachment, you can do this with a machine, but many people believe that it's much better to do it by hand because it's more thorough, and machines whiz it around, but who knows. Ping's decided she wants to move it onto the work surface and is kneading it by hand now on the work surface. We did it in the bowl for about 2 minutes, and we'll come back to you in a minute when we think this is done as well. Right, we're almost there. Ting's just mentioned to me that of all the recipes for bread she's tried, this one is the one which seems to be the most efficient and works best, the least problematic one. As you can see, it's taken, the dough is the right consistency and it's the right amount of moisture. It's taken all the flour off her hand, and none of it is on the work surface, and there was nothing on the work surface, which may be stone, but still there was nothing on it. So there we are. You can see she did that by hand on the surface for about 2.5 minutes, I'd say. And then it goes back in the bowl.
Leave it for 1.5 hours. พักไว้1 ชั่วโมงครึ่งแล้วกลับมาค่ะ
There we are. We'll be back in an hour and a half then.
ตอนนี้ได้เวลาทำเป็นก้อนกลมๆแล้วก็ขึ้นรูปเป็นรูปขนมปังยาวแล้วค่ะ
Right. The time's gone past. We take the cloth off. Look at it, beautifully risen. Absolutely perfect. So at this stage now, we take the risen dough out from the pan, the bowl rather. Do we need flour on the counter?
No.
Will it stick? It looks a bit sticky.
Only on for the dough.
Okay. We take it out and there's your lump of dough. So what we do now is make it into small balls that are the I was going to say that are the right size, but of course that doesn't tell you much. Anyway, you stretch it out and cut it into pieces, and then stretch that out and subdivide that, because we'll make a number of rolls from this. Divide that up into, it'll be 6, I think. Yeah, 6. You put them into a ball, folding it over, and this is preparing before the rolling takes place. And having done that first half of it, now roll out to do the second half. They're not all the same size, but then there's no need for them to be the same size. But when you turn them into balls, notice the way you fold the outside edges in to give it that last bit of making sure there's air inside it. Okay, so we've got a dozen there, and we cover them with the towel, and each one now is going to get rolled, and then they will be put on the baking tray over there, which has a bit of non-stick baking paper on it, for the final stage. You take one at a time and roll them out flat with a rolling pin, and then you roll them up, squeeze them at the ends, squeeze over the final pleat, roll them out a little into a bit fatter than chipolata, probably more like Cumberland sausage size, because of course they still need to swell a bit, and shove a couple of strokes of a knife in them and lay them on the tray. And then you go to the next one, flatten it out a bit, and then give it a rolling pin. So it's about 3 inches wide, I should think. And then roll it up, pinch the ends, pinch the pleat, so it's well sealed. Roll it out a bit so it's Cumberland sausage size. Slash it with a knife and plonk it onto the tray, and do so for the remaining 10 of the dozen. Okay, so those have been done, and you need to leave a bit of space between them when you put them on the tray, because they are still rising, of course, and we now cover them again with a tea cloth and leave them where they are for another hour for them to rise enough before they go in the oven. So in about 50 minutes you'll want your oven on at 218 degrees. 210 degrees, okay?
พักไว้1 ชั่วโมงจนโดมันขึ้นเป็น2 เท่าแล้วก็อบประมาณอบ210 องศาเซนเซียสแล้วก็อบประมาณ 20-25 นาทีค่ะ
Right, the hour's gone and the rolls have swollen a little bit more. The oven's ready, so now we baste them lightly on the tray with plain water coating, mineral water, not wet, but wet enough. Okay, they're ready to go in the oven. The only other thing that you need to do is to have a small beaker this size with about 15 to 20 lumps of ice, which go in the oven as well, to create a damp, moist atmosphere for the cooking. So the trays go in, and you see the circular metal tray underneath, right, under there, which we've put in to warm up. That needs to be just brought out, and then the ice goes in there and goes in to evaporate and steam, and that's it for the next 25 minutes. Okay, 25 minutes has gone, and we expect that the top tray will be ready. Oh, hey, yeah! And the lower tray, because there were two, of course, needs a bit more exposure to the warmth. So that's gone back in. And now we can have a look at these little beauties here. Toasty. Nice. Crunchy, toasty, browned. We'll wait for the others to come out as well.
Yeah.
Good, and this is the second batch. Because we used 2 trays, of course the ones underneath didn't get enough heat. So they went back in for another 15 minutes. But you just watch them until they're the right sort of colour for you. The first batch have been transferred into a bowl. And we'll just let them cool and then pop them down again. So there they all are now. Still a bit warm, and we'll just have a look inside one of them. Oh. Nice and crunchy outside, with a really nice soft inside.
Yeah.
These will be absolutely gorgeous with cheese, with Marmite, peanut butter, and garlic bread, and absolutely wonderful. So there you go, your bread. Make them a bit bigger if you want, and you'll probably get more or less the same, but bigger. Make your own baguette full size, but enjoy anyway.